Hey guys, I don't have a whole lot in the way of remarks to prepare here. We're here to commemorate the life of Barnaby Jack. This is a time to share, to celebrate your memories, the life of Barnaby. I'm here on stage with what I would call the family and friends of Barnaby. Barnaby left far before his time. We lost a member of our family. And I'm thankful that we have, an hour to provide a space for you to gather, to reflect, to share. And I regret that it's only an hour, but we're thankful to be able to provide this space. I'm going to step away and welcome Mark Mayfrey.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for coming out. I'm absolutely humbled to even try to say a few words about Burns. I know he obviously touched so many people, and most importantly, all the love in the world goes out to his sister and girlfriend, all his family in New Zealand, who obviously loved him on the level that none of us can probably relate. I was lucky enough to meet Barnes kind of just before he got into computer security. This is back in, I think, roughly the late 90s or so. And I discovered some of the kind of first remote system Microsoft vulns, and it was such a kind of new thing at the time that there wasn't really any kind of known knowledge on how to exploit these things. And so I figured, if we could find some of the new Win32, x86 assembly and such, maybe we'd have a chance. And so I went on IRC, and I went on a Win32 assembly channel, and ended up meeting this guy named Dark Spirit, and he was not only quickly understood to just be this insanely smart guy, but you could just tell even from IRC as he was all the way over in New Zealand. I believe at the time working at a video store. Brilliant guy and so full of life, and we worked together starting then and just doing a lot of the kind of original research around Microsoft and related. And there's so many things that he's known for, but even in the security space, he did so much so that some of it's even forgotten. I think that he wrote one of the original kind of papers, the how-to manual back in the day on how to just even exploit Windows-based vulnerabilities. It was pretty much only him and kind of Dildog at the time that were kind of putting that down. And then years later, after finding numerous critical, Microsoft vulnerabilities and such, he also wrote the what I think one of the best papers on remotely exploiting Windows kernel-based vulnerabilities. I believe the title of it was "Step into the Ring Zero." He always had the best fucking titles. And all through even that time, all the work that he did, and so many things behind the scenes with a lot of the vulnerabilities that he was finding in Microsoft, and not just finding them, but the let's say the unique pressure that Barnes knew how to kind of apply. I think truly he's one of the guys that was very instrumental in a lot of those early embarrassments that left to trustworthy computing and a lot of that improvement. And then, of course, very famously, as a lot of people know him, for doing the just absolutely brilliant ATM research and medical device research. And he did so much from a security perspective, but the thing that more brilliant than anything that he did from a security perspective was just the way that he lived life. And sorry, fuck, he'd be making fun of me so hard right now. You're like, oh, you fucking cunt, man up. He just had this brilliant sense of life, and if you were with him, you were always smiling. I mean, it's weird. amazing event last night, and all these photos of him, and just everyone, he's just smiling, or he's just got that cheeky grin that something's about to go down.
Something was about to go down.
And pretty much always was. And I don't know, he just had such the embodiment of kind of the hacker spirit of just always curious about everything, always challenging himself and pushing through. And one story, it was probably the hardest thing in the world to think of a story I could actually say. But one story that I remember that was just very much kind of how he lived, more than anything kind of technology or security related. We were in Prague one year where we went kind of like for a vacation after Black Hat Amsterdam, which I was talking to his mom about the other night because I took a header into a bar because I was a little too dehydrated. And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, Mom. Don't worry, mate." He's like, I think his mom was maybe a nurse or something in the medical field at the time. And he rings his mom at like 4 a.m. just to get advice. And we, of course, didn't listen to Mom's advice and just held a towel and luckily didn't bleed. Anyways, that's a side thing. But in Prague, we showed up after Black Hat Amsterdam, and we got there on like a Tuesday or something. And surprisingly, it was a very, very quiet town, not much going on. And so we found a pub tour, and we figured, awesome, we'll go hit a bunch of different pubs, learn a little history kind of thing. And I think we got maybe to the second pub or so, and you could tell Barnes was kind of bored, but he was mostly bored because it didn't seem like people were having a good time. It wasn't even about him. He was just looking at this group of all these random tourists that we were with, people we didn't even know, old, young, everything. And so he remembered there was a karaoke bar that he had seen, and so he was like, basically, let's convince everybody to go do karaoke with us, all these random strangers. And to get things started, we got the whole tour group to go over, and we ended up just butchering this fucking Blink-182 song, just absolutely horrible rendition. And I think it was about 10 minutes later after that, Barnes is with, there's a 60-year-old couple that was celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary. And Barnes has got the husband doing like a body shot off the lady. And I just remember in that, just pausing in that kind of moment, just looking around at all these total strangers that he had just met only a few hours ago, and they clearly were having one of the best moments of their life. And I think that's why he touched so many people on so many levels, even more than anything he ever did in computer security, just because of the way he lived. And we're just going to miss him deeply, as I know all you guys are. So.
Guys, we're going to invite everybody to stay. We do have the room for the hour, so thank you very, very much to Black Hat. We really, really appreciate it. And we just want to mix and mingle and have everybody share some of the great stories and antics that were Barnaby Jack. So thanks for coming.